Oh, it's good to be back. Hi, everybody. How are we all doing? Not everybody all at once now. Come on.
Oh, great. We can't see you, Nick. Why can't we see you?
Oh, you can't see me. Uh-oh. I can see me on my end.
You're
Hold on.
just
I
a
need to...
voice in the dark, out of the ether.
That's not good.
I can see it.
I can see you. I can see you, Nick.
All right. Okay. I can see me too. So that's Well, hello everybody watching. Let me know if you can see me. Otherwise, I'm just this disembodied voice for the hour. That's okay. I can do it either way. I'm a disembodied voice most of the week. Well, welcome everybody to the town hall. We're not going to start quite yet. We're going to wait for a little bit of time here, just to let some other folks get in on this town hall. Make sure everyone has an opportunity to listen to the information. While we're waiting for everyone to join in, jump in on the fun, why don't you all just let us know where you are watching from? What was the high temperature for you all? That's always a good question. All right. Looks like we're coming in loud and clear for folks, so that's good. Yeah, what was the high temperature yesterday for you in your area? Let us know in the chat. And where are you watching from? That's what I like to know. For me, I have to look it up. Let's see here. For me, 38 degrees. I'm in Vancouver, Washington. So 78 in Charleston. Okay. 81 Washington, D.C. Got some folks from Houston in here. Oops. Orange County. We got some folks from the OC, Virginia Beach, Central Oregon.
7 degrees in
Whoa.
Oregon? Oh my God. Wow.
I was almost wondering if that was Celsius, but no, Fahrenheit.
Is there a little static? Can anyone hear static coming in?
I can hear a little static. Trying to identify the source right now. I think it might be Farzan.
Yeah, it's probably too loud. Let me turn it down. Let me know if it's any.
That's a little better. In your audio settings, you can do echo cancellation, noise suppression. That might help.
All right.
Negative 29 in Chicago? Woo!
Wow.
No, that can't be. I think it's 29. I think that's just a dash. That's not negative 29. Oh my gosh.
Yes, and we got some comments about the music. The music is intentional. I'll take that away as we start the town hall proper, but it's just to set the mood. We're all chill. We're all
It's to
chill.
get you dancing, Keith.
Yeah.
Dancing. It's like being on TikTok. This is our version of TikTok.
Yes, we should make some TikToks. Actually, you know, I've been I don't know about you all, but I've been really playing around with a lot of this AI that's been coming out lately. You know, I thought this might be a fun thing for us to all do just while we're in this little pre-segment of the town hall here. So what we could do, there's AI obviously that writes copy. The ChatGPT is the big one that everyone's been talking about, right? And what would be fun is I thought it would be fun if ChatGPT write us a freestyle rap in the style of Eminem as it relates to human factors, right? So let's just see what ChatGPT comes up with. So again, this is completely on the fly here. Human factors, it's all about designing things work for the human mind. And buttons to knobs and levers. We've got to make sure they're easy to endeavor. Hey, that's pretty good. Do we want to hear Eminem actually say this? Now that's the next question. because I think I have to share my audio with you all. So you all saw that happen live. That was live. There's also another AI service here that allows you to synthesize somebody's voice using AI. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll get Eminem to read this little rap about human factors. Up with it. Let's see. All right, here we go.
Human factors, it's all about design, making things work for the human mind. From screens and buttons to knobs and levers, we gotta make sure they're easy to endeavor.
Wow. That went over way better than I thought it would. Oh, man. Well, hey, I think we got a lot of folks here in the chat. So why don't we go? I'm gonna kill the music.
Can we help
here.
that
Yeah.
person? The person who's asking about not familiar with video through LinkedIn. Where are the controls so they can see? Does anybody know how to help that person?
I'm not sure. I think there's probably for me it's an overlay on the LinkedIn, so you can pause and play through that. And there's no seeker right now because we're live. So,
okay.
All right. So for now, I'm gonna put everybody backstage. I'll just introduce here what we're doing. Let me just pause a second so I can get into my podcast mode. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the HFES Town Hall for February 2023. No matter if you're joining us live, watching, or listening to this recording later, thank you all so much for being here. HFES has invited me to host today. My name is Nick Rome. I host a weekly Human Factors podcast. I'm joined today by the president of HFES, Carolyn Summerick, and by the president-elect, Susan Katowski. We also have Andrew and Barbara on the line, who are going to be talking about a lot of really fun things today. We got a great town hall. Look at the latest from the society and look forward to this year's annual meeting. And Farzan as well. Sorry, my apologies, Farzan. Forgot to introduce you. And later we'll be addressing some of your questions too. So just to level set with everybody on the format here, this town hall is open to everybody, members, non-members alike, no matter which category you fall in. I'm super glad that you're here. We're all glad that you're here. We're broadcasting this across many different platforms right now. That includes the Human Factors Cast channels, as well as the official HFES channels. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all of them. You can find us there. If you can't stick around for the entire town hall today, it will be available as a recording on all those platforms right after we're done. We'll also be distributing this audio version of on the Human Factors Cast podcast feed. So one last important note, as we're going through this today, we ask that no matter where you're watching or listening, if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat. We can all see those comments, and we might be able to address some of that stuff as we get closer towards the end of the town hall today. And I want you all to give these guys some tough questions. Give them some really tough questions. All right, I've gone on long enough. I'm going to put everybody backstage, and I'm going to leave Carolyn up here to talk through some society updates. Carolyn, over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Nick. And welcome, everyone. I just want to shout out to Chris Reed, who started this series last year. I think it's a great initiative, and so we are keeping it going. So just our agenda for today: who are we, society announcements and updates, and then we are going to be talking about our digital communications efforts and the upcoming international annual meeting. And that's why I've got these compadres with me here today: Barb Chaparro, Andrew Golzewski, Farzan Sisahangohar, and Susan Katowski. So these are just images from our previous town halls, and you can see everybody's smiling. We have a good time with this, and we really enjoy your participation. So please do send us questions. So there is a survey, as with all of our webinars. And so this is the link to it. And then Nick also has the QR code there showing. So you can provide us with feedback through that survey. Our mission at HFES is to advance the science and practice of designing for people in the systems in which they work. And we do that through interactions at various levels, at different, from systems levels to product levels to environments and everything in between. And we have expertise among our membership in terms of design and the social sciences, in anthropometry and biomechanics. We are very widespread in the knowledge that we support and that we share with the wider world. We were formed in 1957, but we are not stodgy by any stretch of the imagination, as you can see by us using these the technology that we're using today for this event. We have about 3,100 members, and they are mainly in the United States, but we have members throughout the world, and we are fortunate for that, and we really enjoy the benefits of that in terms of their participation in our society as full members of the society and as student members of the society. There we go, Newfoundland. Welcome. Thanks for participating. We have 26 technical groups. So if you've got a special interest somewhere, we've got a technical group that addresses that. We also have 5 affinity groups, and members of HFES are welcome and encouraged to join both our technical groups and our affinity groups. We have student members from graduate programs throughout the US and Canada, and whoops, it mean to actually switch that. I'm not sure why that switched so quickly, but I won't worry about that. To move myself along here, we produce individuals who can support work that's needed in government and industry and academia to develop those systems and enhance those systems for the people who are using them. And as part of our membership services, we support your careers. We provide career resources. This is just a very limited subset of the kinds of career resources that we provide to members. We have job board, we have career fairs at our healthcare symposium and our annual meeting. We have a member directory to help you network with people in industry and in academia and in consulting. We provide ways for folks outside to find our experts through our consultant and expert witness directory. And you can find more of our career resources at that link right there. Membership, our members are really the heart of our society. They truly are. And I wanted just to remind you, if you haven't renewed your membership for 2023, I encourage you to do that. We have a lot of membership options, including reduced cost memberships for early career professionals, for our students. We have a new corresponding member level for folks who belong to another IEA, International Ergonomics Association society that are outside of the US. This gives access to materials and publications at a reduced rate. We also have reduced rates for folks who are living in emerging countries, as it's labeled. And we also have a hardship benefit that we can offer to members when, if you are not in a financial situation where you can afford your membership in a given year, please reach out to us because we don't want to lose you as a member. Your membership supports all of the activities that HFES does. It includes helping to pay for our wonderful staff who work on HFES matters throughout the days and weeks and behind the scenes that you don't necessarily see them until you come to a meeting or you interact with the society, need something specific from it. But it also, your membership supports our outreach efforts, government relations. We have so much work that's going on in that area, and your membership helps to support that. So just want to, it's very much a two-way street, membership. We provide services to our members, and our members help the society do the outreach work that's really important part of HFES. I have some volunteer opportunities that I want to let people know about. Membership, that's, again, one of the values of membership is to take on volunteer opportunities. And I want to tell you about a couple of them: the Internal Affairs Division Chair and Webinars Committee Chair. First, though, as usual, I'm going to orient you to the organization through our org chart. And yes, it's teeny tiny and can't necessarily read it very well, but what I mainly want to point out is these two opportunities that I'm highlighting here. One is in the green box, which is the Internal Affairs Division, and the other is in the rose-colored box, which is the Education Division. So I'm just kind of orienting you to where these positions are. So the Internal Affairs Division Chair is the chair of the Internal Affairs Division, which is kind of the heart of our membership in terms of our different divisions and how they're organized. So the Internal Affairs Division houses all of our chapter affairs, our local and student affairs. It houses our Council of Technical Groups, Membership Committee, Mentorship Committee, our Council of Affinity Groups, and our Practitioners Committee. But mostly I want to tell you, what does a division chair actually do? And so all of our division chairs, they coordinate and manage the activities within their division. They meet regularly with their committee chairs. Committee chairs do so much, the committees do, much of our work. And so in order to support those committees and the committee chairs, that's a big role for our division chairs. The division chairs serve as a liaison between the executive council and the committees. The division chairs convey discussions and action items from the EC and the strategic direction to the committees that are within a given division. The division chairs coordinate activities between and amongst their committees so that there's not duplication of effort, but where there are synergies and where committees should be working together, they help to coordinate that. They also help to connect committees across divisions as well. So if you're a person who really believes in the activities and the this particular division and what this division does, I urge you to get in touch with me and let me know about your interests. And I don't want to ignore the good work that Sami Durrani has been doing. So Sami has been doing wonderful work in this area, and he's at a point where he's ready to hand this important work off to someone else. But he's also going to be staying on to help ensure a smooth transition. So it's not like he's just going away and you're going to be left to your own devices to sink or swim. It's not like that at all. So again, if you have an interest in this, you're just curious, please get a hold of me. So now I'm going to tell you about the other opportunity that I'm advertising today, and it is the Webinars Committee Chair. So the Webinars Committee is housed in our Education Division, which is chaired by Keith Jones. And the Webinars Committee solicits topics and presentations for webinars. It helps us to generate ideas and recruit presenters. It also works with TGs and other groups that want to host webinars and helps to coordinate the timing of that with our central office staff, helps them to think about what type of a webinar should this be. Is this more like a meeting or a webinar, kind of more formal presentation, or do you want more of a discussion, and helps to plan that out. So if this sounds like it's an area that you are interested in or you have some experience with, please get a hold of me or Keith Jones, and we're more than happy to talk with you about this. Other volunteer opportunities. Hey, we have elections coming up like we do every year. Every year we elect 2 at-large members of the Executive Council, a president-elect, and a secretary-treasurer-elect. All of these terms are for 3 years, essentially. Executive Council members, it's a 3-year term. President-elect, secretary, treasurer-elect, basically you're the elect, then you're it, and then your immediate past president. So that's the 3 years of that. And a couple years ago, Ellen Bass had the great idea to create a video, kind of what is it about when you are thinking about, running for one of these elected offices. And although the dates are, we mentioned some dates in there that wouldn't be right because it's from a couple years ago, the content is very informative. And so I have the link up there for you. And of course, you can always just contact us for this link, because if it's flying by too quickly and you didn't get it, we're happy to share it with you later too. Lots of events coming up this year. These are really big events. So we just had our Titan Symposium. Thank you so much to Kermit Davis and his team for organizing this. Great highlights every year of people who are really have moved the needle, moved the dial, moved the science, moved the practice of human factors. That's who we highlight in this Titan Symposium every year. And now we have, recordings of these folks that are then available, into the future. If you didn't get to attend the Titan Symposium, you can find those recordings on the Learning Center. Those are available to be viewed at a later date. They are currently doing the closed captioning on those, so I don't think these are available quite yet, but they will be soon. Then we have upcoming our International Human Factors and Ergonomics in Healthcare Symposium. That is in Orlando. Registration has been open for a while for that, and we are still obviously taking registrations. It's still got another month. If you can't come to Florida, you can view many sessions. They'll be live streamed. So, and the registration for that is open now. Then we have our international annual meeting coming up in October. Please come to Washington and join us there. The first day of the meeting is also going to be the date for ErgoX. And so you are able to find more information about that on our events page. And Farzan and Susan are going to be talking more about this, so I'm not going to be talking more about it right now. We have upcoming webinars. Thank you, Sustainability Task Force. You guys are busy. You got 2 webinars coming up, one in March and one in April. And we publish those on the events list as they are added. So please check that out on a regular basis to find out what webinars we have coming up. In terms of the annual meeting, again, I'm not going to talk much about it other than to say the 28th February, that date is coming up to submit a proposal. And we encourage practitioners and academics to share what you are doing, your practice, your knowledge with the world. So this is welcome presentations from practitioners and academics. I cannot say that enough times. We want not just to hear from the academic folks, but the practitioners. The whole idea behind the annual meeting is we come together and we share what we've been doing, and we figure out how can we collaborate in the future. So, and again, Farzan and Susie will be talking more about this in just a few minutes. What's also due? Student chapters. Hey, if you want some money for this year, get in your proposal to the co-chair of the Student Affairs Committee, Dr. Xiaomei Wang, and keep doing good activities there. And if you need some funding for it, put in for it. March 17th, what's due? Nominations for HFES Fellows. The Fellows designation recognizes outstanding achievement, superior professional performance, exceptional contributions to both human factors field and the society. And again, I want to emphasize that this is not just for academics. So here are the different areas in which we recognize excellence. Education, yes, but research and design, applications and practice, management and supervision, outreach and advocacy. And this is what I really want to emphasize. If you know someone that you believe is excellent in one or more of these areas, give them a shove, give them a tap on the shoulder, give them the benefit that you see that they would qualify for this, and support and encourage them to apply to this. We got more awards. HFES awards are annual awards. The nominations for those are accepted through the 14th of April. And again, I'm going to emphasize not just for academics. Most of these awards are available for both practitioners and academics. We do have a couple of awards that are specifically for HFES members, but these aren't even necessarily just for HFES members. So take a look at the webpage that describes our awards, read the description of the awards, and you'll see, I'm sure that you'll identify one that is either is appropriate for you to be nominated for or someone that you know and respect. What's new? Well, we want to welcome our newest affinity group, which is the KHFES, the Korean American Affinity Group. And again, I urge all of our members to check out all of our affinity groups and consider joining one or more of them. You do not have to be a member of the particular demographic. You just have to be interested and supportive. So these affinity groups are so active, and it's really very enjoyable to participate in their meetings and learn more about their great ideas and their experiences. So I really encourage you to check out our affinity groups. I also want to just highlight, we have on the various heritage months and recognition months, we put up our own message related to those months. And I want to give a shout out to Barrett Caldwell, who wrote our message for Black History Month. Thank you so much, Barrett. I always learn so much from reading these messages. And we'll have one coming up for Women's History Month here. We're working on that right now. Chris Reed, he gets around, man. This guy is in Cuba and all over the place, taking the message of human factors and HFES to the much wider world. So thank you, Chris, for representing HFES in all different corners of the globe. We have a new method series book out, Risk Management, How to Assess and Control Risk Related to Human Error in Products and Systems. These little books are great for educators. These are like the little SAGE books, if you're familiar with that series. This one says how to. It really is a how-to book. It gives examples. It's not just talking theory. It really will inform you about how to use it. So great for educators to use in courses. I urge you to check out this one and others in the method series. And for folks who are submitting to Human Factors, you will be really glad to know that we are expanding the page count and the number of issues. So that will really support a more timely publication of our accepted papers. So don't give up on human factors because you think there's a really long publication lag time, because we are working on that. And thank you to Rob Radwin and Pat DeLucia for resolving this issue and working to resolve this. Few more updates. I was exhausted here, but there's just so much going on, and I want to tell you about all of it. We have new memorandum of understandings with the National Safety Council and the Society of Surgical Ergonomics. We form these, we make these associations as we see that they can be mutually beneficial to members of both of the organizations when we decide to make these. And and we have a page that shows the groups that we've developed these with. National Safety Council, I remember one of the items in there specifically, there's some kind of support money for students in there. So we are going to be definitely highlighting that and making sure our students know about the opportunity related to that National Safety Council MOU. Service agreements. We have 2 new service agreements. These are investments that the Executive Council has made. One with Rarefy, and you're going to be hearing about that in just a moment, regarding our digital communications review and redesign effort, and then with 360 Live Media to grow our annual meeting. And there are opportunities for our members to assist with these. Because both of these organizations are talking to our members to learn more about what's important to them. In the works, we have our awards renaming task force that is still active, and we have a new one on nominations and elections because we really want more people to consider running for elected office, and we want to figure out how to reduce the barriers to doing that and to encourage more people to participate in running our society. Our DEI committee is working on recognition awards. That's been in the works for a long time, and I think it's really going to hopefully happen this year, that those are going to be out and up. The UX task force last year, Rebecca Greer and her task force did a great job on developing a report with a number of recommendations, and we are moving forward with taking steps to enact a number of those recommendations. So now I'm going to take a breath here. We have 2 groups that are going to be talking with you today. One, Barb Chaparro and Andrew Golozewski are going to be talking about our digital communication efforts. And then we're going to have, we're going to ask Farzan and Susan to talk about the annual meeting. I'm done, Nick.
All right. Well, thank you, Carolyn. Really appreciate the presentation. Sounds like there's a lot going on with the society. So I think we're going to check in with Farzan first. Is that right? Oh. Farzan and Susan, are we going to check in with you guys first? Let's bring you on. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So can you just give us a little sneak peek of what we can expect of this year's annual conference offerings?
Of course, but this year's annual meeting, attendees can expect in terms of attendance, often in recent years. First, a very inclusive. I think it's going to be fun.
Hey, Farzan, you're chopping in and out there, buddy. Is wondering if there's another something else going on with your audio.
Oh, I'm sorry. The audio input to see if it changes.
Yeah, it's just choppy. I'm not sure what's going on. Let's see here. Maybe what we can do here is switch to talking about Digital Communications Committee first, and then bring you on a little bit later if we can figure out those audio issues. Is that okay? Sorry to play you off like the Oscars, but we'll do that right now, and we'll come back to you in just a little bit. All right. So for now, let's go ahead and we'll put you all backstage, and let's bring out Barbara. And hello, Barbara. Let's
Hello.
shift gears. Coming away from the annual meeting, we'll talk about that in just a minute. But let's talk about the Digital Communications Committee. What is it?
Okay, well, thank you very much, Nick. Hope you can hear me okay. All right, so the Digital Communication Committee, or what we're calling the DCC, is a brand new committee within our education division whose goal is to oversee the HFES website and all of the directly associated subsites, as well as related digital communications. So, excuse me, this includes the main hfes.org site, but also things like the Learning Center, our digital community, technical group sites, and student chapter sites. Excuse me. In addition to our events, of course, so the conference websites and the conference app that you use on site. So overall, the committee goal is to really help monitor and assess the usability of our site, the content, the architecture, and optimize the user experience for those that are seeking information about human factors, the society, and this is, members and non-members of the general public.
So did this formed from a previous task force? What was that previous task force, and what were those objectives?
Yeah, so the committee came about through initial task force that was started back in 2020 with Carolyn and Rebecca Greer and Monty Gamitro and Keith Karn. This was the time when the site was migrated to a new platform, and it went through an initial redesign phase and rebranding. And so the goal of this task force was to evaluate the site and provide some recommendations for improvement.
And so how did the formation itself come about of the DCC, the Digital Communication Committee?
Yeah, so the DCC is really a continuation of the task force work. So task force in general tend to be shorter term engagements. And so we realized that it would be best to have a standing committee that has the responsibility to oversee the website and associated microsites and to make sure it stays updated and meets the needs of our members and our non-members. So we're always going to have a digital presence. So this committee will be ongoing as part of the education division to help oversee all of that, even as technological advances occur, and that we are able to work with the HFES staff digital team. The other benefit of becoming a formal committee is that we were able to establish some operating rules, which outline what the committee will be doing, how it interacts, and provide some accountability back to the education division and the executive council.
Yeah, I know the website is a big point of contention for a lot of HFES members. They comment about it. We're human factors, but the website is, well, you all can develop your own opinions on the website, but I do have a couple questions before we get to that. What is sort of the, you kind of mentioned it, alluded to it. What is the overall role of the Digital Communication Committee within HFES? And do you have any primary objectives that you can talk about that the group is working towards?
Yeah, so I mean, we're within the education division, but we overlap with many of the other groups in the society. Everybody has some aspect of the web presence or the online community. So that includes outreach for sure, membership, and certainly the conference event committees. The website is one place that both members and non-members can visit, and it's for many different reasons. So the goal of this committee is to really make sure that the information we're providing and we're presenting is helpful and meets everybody's needs.
Okay, so that's a pretty big promise. How are we hoping to accomplish some of those objectives?
Yeah, so as you can imagine, this is not a small task. There are a lot of moving pieces here. And so the task force realized about a year ago that it would be most beneficial to have a dedicated resource to evaluate our site and all the associated systems. So we worked with the HFES digital team last spring on an RFP for a UX consultant to do a deep dive assessing the capabilities of HFES website platform, all the third-party tools that are being used, as well as to talk to our members about their website experiences. So, HFES supports many different systems. It's not just hfes.org, but the learning management system, membership system, journals, online communities, all of the above. So the RFP was to find a dedicated resource that could examine all of these from a user perspective. So late last fall, we were very excited to get approval to hire Andrew from the consulting firm Rarify. So I think he could walk through what his process is going to be. It's underway right now. We're in the beginning stages of this, but I think it's very exciting what we're going to come out with.
Yeah, I was about to say. So we hired somebody to look at all of HFES's UX across the board, and you're telling me that they're here too? How amazing is that? Hey, Andrew, could you tell us a little bit about this multi-phase consulting agreement or engagement that's been planned?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can start with the broad scope of the engagement, which is basically to formulate a digital strategy along with specific UX recommendations that are going to serve members, serve the organization, and be sustainable moving forward and maintainable moving forward by the people who are responsible for working on these websites. And Barb was talking through some of the challenges there. So there's a heavy reliance on volunteer support and expertise to help bring new content onto the website. But most importantly, HFES Online has so many different components. It may seem like one website, and really it should seem like one website, but it's actually a collection of a lot of different platforms and tools that Barb and Carolyn also mentioned. And furthermore, certain things like the message board and the Learning Center are necessarily powered by other technology. And these things are customizable to varying degrees. So you can imagine some challenges around delivering a consistent experience and sort of fine-tuning all of these experiences to make them really ideal and really user-centered as opposed to technology-centered. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, as a member, I love this. This is amazing, and this is probably some of the best news that I've heard in a very long time. So, this is, like I said, this is a big ask. Can you walk me through some of the key stages that is involved in this engagement?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So even leading up to this, since the new website launched about 3 years ago, there has been a lot of work done to assess its usability and suggest improvements. So we're not starting from scratch. I have a really fantastic starting point to work from, but so much happens day to day from the standpoint of content updates and website maintenance that it can be hard to take a step back and understand the big picture of how well all these tools are really working. So, my main goal is really to identify the highest value improvements that we can make for members and for the organization. So how do we do that, right? It's a big ask. The first phase of the engagement is a discovery phase, which is just wrapping up. And that has been about understanding the work that has been done to date and the current state of things. And there are a lot of inputs to this. So one is examining the different platforms themselves. And that includes the end user experiences, as well as underlying metrics like analytics and usage data. How many people are using these things? What are they trying to do? And sort of understand the numbers behind how these experiences are currently performing. I've also, as part of my discovery phase, gotten to conduct many interviews with the people who are responsible for working on these websites to understand how things are going from a process standpoint. And of course, it's a lot of reviewing member feedback and previous issues that have been identified and really getting the lay of the land that way. So I'm coming out of this discovery phase with a great understanding of, first of all, HFES members, which is a very wide range of people who have very different needs and jobs. And it's been, really enjoyable kind of wrapping my head around that. And I'm also coming out of discovery with a lot of questions that I hope to ask in my next phase, which is a user research phase. And I can give a quick plug about that. As we are getting into it, so in the coming weeks, I'll be conducting in-depth interviews with current and former members, and a survey is going to follow from that as well, which is going to focus on the member experience and the value of all of these digital platforms. So if anybody who's listening, anybody who watches the recording, if you get an invitation to participate in an interview or fill out a survey, please consider doing so. It's really important for us to capture a broad range of perspectives. That's demographics, that's professional disciplines, academics and practitioners. It's early, mid, late career. It's whether you go to meetings or don't go to meetings, whether you engage online or don't engage online. Your perspective is really important, and is going to be influential to how these digital properties develop in the future. So we really want to know what you think.
That's awesome. I will happily promote that that link. Let's get some feedback. Let's make this site, this suite of sites for HFES, the best they can be. I guess the last question I have for you, Andrew, is HFES. This is an organization that preaches usability, user-centered design, putting the user in the middle of everything. What sort of benefits can this have for the society as a whole?
Yeah, well, where to begin? It's from one standpoint, it is important for every organization to prioritize user experience, right? Everyone needs to understand their users, their customers, their needs, their expectations, and then ultimately, what is the right content? What are the right features, that need to be presented in a digital property? But of course, with HFES, there is this element of we need to practice what we preach, right? And this sends the best possible message, both to current members and to prospective members, about the quality and the expertise that you can expect from HFES and from being a part of it. The homepage, right now, if you go to hfes.org, it says systems that work for humans, and our digital presence, HFES digital presence, is a system that should be working for humans, right? And so we're using this engagement to look at the whole system, not just the website, but the people and the processes behind the websites, because we really want to deliver on this notion of user-centered design that informs so much of the other things that HFES members do professionally.
Great. So that's an awesome effort. Barb, I'm going to go back to you. Basically, how is the DCC, the Digital Communication Committee, going to work with these recommendations, and kind of what are you going to do with them?
Yeah, so Andrew's not going away right after the recommendation. So there is a phase where we will be working with him, and we're in the loop as we speak on his different phases and learning from each other. So, at the point where we have recommendations, the goal of the DCC is to help with implementation, right, and prioritization and understanding, what we need to do first, second, third. So we're really eager to see some of the results that Andrew comes up with, and we'll continue to work with him to make a better site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can add to that a little bit. So that's a great point, Barb, and something that we discussed extensively in the proposal stage as we were crafting this approach is, I'm going to develop this list of UX recommendations. It's not valuable to drop that list in people's laps and say good luck. That's no engagement, consulting engagement should end there. So I'm also budgeting time to prioritize, first of all, these suggested improvements, with the help of the team. And this prioritization will be based on both the value that these recommendations will bring to members and the organization, but also based on how heavy a lift they will be to implement, right? So it's easy to say, I want this website to be different in this way, but we don't always have visibility into the development resources that are necessary in order to really make things happen. And we need to be deliberate about the order in which we tackle things. And then even beyond that, I'm going to be staying on a temporary basis to help monitor the implementation of these highest priority recommendations and make sure that the output is true to what we've been talking about this whole time and what came out of the initial research phases. So yeah, definitely looking forward to sticking around and seeing it through. As an HFES member myself, I do UX consulting. I also do human factors consulting and have loved being a part of HFES. And so selfishly, I want to see a better website and a better organization for all of us.
All right, as do we all. So thank you, Barb and Andrew. I'm going to put you all backstage, and we're going to try to talk to Farzan and Susan again about the annual meeting updates. Let's see. Farzan, can you hear us? Are you coming in loud and clear?
Yeah, is it better now?
Oh, so much better. So much better.
There
Night
you
and
go.
day.
All right, thank you.
Oof. All right. Well, welcome back to the stage. The question that I had asked you before the audio issues were there. Basically, can you give us a sneak peek of this year's annual conference offerings?
I am so excited for this year. I think we're going to have one of our largest events to date in terms of attendance. In recent years, at least. You can expect a very diverse, inclusive technical program. I think it's going to be a lot of energy and fun. We're going to kick it off with the Student Career and Professional Development Day, which is a super popular event among our students. It's a full day of program tailored just for our student members. This year, we try to offer a range of technical workshops, and we try to reduce the overlap between the Student Career Day and the workshops because they happen the same day, first day of the conference. So our students can take advantage of both. Last year, we tried a new format for the opening reception. We included this new award ceremony, thanks to Chris Reed and his leadership on this. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive. People had a lot of fun. I think we had a really energetic start to the conference. So we're going to go ahead and repeat it, and this time, with some improvements, of course. Then we're going to have our 4 days of typical technical program combined with social. Plenty of networking opportunities, social activities that we're planning. Almost one large reception per day, except for Friday, which is a half day. And hey, we're going to be in Washington, D.C., a great location, many attractions. I think we're going to have a very large meeting with hopefully many family members attending too. We're going to be at the Hilton, which was recently renovated. The location is very convenient, especially to Reagan Airport. It's very close to a subway station with access to some great attractions, as you know, Smithsonian Museums, Arlington, Georgetown, National Zoo. White House is walking distance from the hotel. I really encourage attendees to stay at the conference hotel for their convenience, but also to help us keep the conference fee lower. I want to be really honest here, relative to other conferences I'm going to, I think HFE is still the value out there. Our registration fee is among the lowest, especially for students, and society has been absorbing enormous costs to keep it affordable and low. So one way you can support us is to be at the hotel, so at least we use the block we allocated to the conference. Another very amazing thing that's going to happen this year is because we're in DC, we're going to be in close proximity to all the main government agencies with interest in human factors or ergonomics, including, hopefully high attendance from government entity, which makes up for great opportunities for networking, and hopefully invited talks and panels by these folks from NSF, NIH, especially these funding agencies. We're going to be really interested in connecting with. You want to know
That's
about some of the changes we're making?
Yes, that was my next question. How it's almost like we're reading from the same document here. Yeah,
Perfect.
Can you tell us about some of the changes?
Awesome. All right. We have some really great initiatives and improvements this year. I'm going to just name a few maybe. one of these initiatives is to make the event a little bit more appealing to our HFE practitioners. This year, we made some changes to our submission system to tag practitioner-oriented papers a little bit better, and we're working with our technical groups to make sure submissions from practitioners receive fair reviews by our peer review panels that now include some practitioners, and they're evaluated fairly based on substance of the contribution and level of interest of our audiences for the talk, their impact and novelty, rather than just size of the paper or if they had statistical analysis or not. I hope that makes sense. This year, we're also asking presenters to include a little bit of practical implications of their work as part of their presentation. So make it a little bit more meaningful for our practitioner attendees. Another very important ongoing activity is that we're improving the offering for our members from the UX community. UX practitioners and researchers has been always a very important part of our membership. We'd like to make this event a little bit more attractive for them. We've traditionally celebrated this community with a user experience day, which was a collection of talks tailored to usability and UX audience. But this year, we're trying to work with various UX groups to add a little bit more flavor and variety to this special day. Members from the UX community, stand by. I think you're gonna be surprised. You can expect an exciting day of technical talks combined with invited panels, interactive sessions, demos, and social events oriented towards UX community. We're in the formative stages of planning it, so please reach out to me or Susan or anybody on this call so we can hear from you and use your feedback to improve this experience.
Selfishly, I love that.
That's really it. And I hope we have Human Factors Cast again. You brought a lot of energy last year.
We'll be there. And in fact, I would have saved this for the Q&A, but my co-host Barry Kirby here in the comments here asking the $1 million question: is it worth coming from the UK for? And really anywhere in the world? Is it worth coming from anywhere in the world for?
Absolutely. We're really an international society. You're going to see a lot of submissions internationally and a lot of networking opportunities for international collaboration purposes. And this is a large family. This is an international family. It's not just North American based, in my opinion. I've always appreciated meeting my international peeps. And that's the exciting part. That's really the only time in the year I get to see them. So I would love to see more international folks coming.
Maybe if Barry comes, Farzan will dance at the opening reception.
I will do that.
Oh, all right, Barry. There's your incentive. Now we have to get you to come. And if we are there in the same or similar or bigger capacity for Human Factors Cast, we'd love to have you there in person too, Barry. So I have to ask you one more question here, Farzan.
Sure.
You've mentioned that there's a lot going on. How can folks get involved if they want to volunteer or give you feedback or anything like that?
Sure. Carolyn talked about our volunteering opportunities. We have a defined pathway for volunteering for the entire society. But if you're interested in helping us with the annual meeting, you can come to me, contact me directly, or contact Susan or email education@hfps.edu, which would get transferred to me. I would love to talk to you and get you involved. We love the energy from our members. We never, ignore ideas or feedback. In fact, I want to give a shout out to some of the committees here at HFES, including the Diversity and Inclusion Committee and our affinity groups, who are doing an amazing job. Our Council of Affinity Groups, COAG, is feeding us with a lot of good recommendations, and we're taking it seriously. We're working on implementing a lot of these recommendations now to make sure all of our interest groups are well represented this year in our program. For example, made some changes to our submission form to better capture any sort of DEI related submissions, and we're planning on changing even the review process and allocation process for non-technical submissions for fair treatment of these non-technical submissions. It's going to be a great year, a week-long program, more than 600 presentations. I've heard from some of you, and these are, this is not a lot of people, but I just wanted to say, I hear you out, people who feel a little bit overwhelmed with the program. It's a very diverse, very large program. We understand that. But trust me in saying that we're trying really hard to address this by identifying some redundancies, holding more joint TG type of sessions. And we're also working on the app and our printed program to make sure attendees can better navigate this large program.
That's amazing. So that's 2023. Now, Susan, I have to ask you, are we already looking forward to 2024? Do you have anything that you can tell us?
We absolutely are, as crazy as that sounds. Yeah, so just a really quick sneak peek. We are working on a lot of reimagining the 2024 meeting. So even more exciting things to come in 2024. We'll probably have a whole nother discussion on that in a while, but yeah, we've engaged a group that's working on currently reaching out to members. We're listening to you, we're working towards making that meeting experience even bigger, even better, keeping all the science. We know that's super, super important, but just making it more fun, more engaging. So yes, keep your eyes out for 2024 as well.
Awesome. I'm excited for both 2023 and 2024. With that, let's bring everybody back on the stage here. We'll bring everybody back out, and looks like we had some pretty good questions in chat. If you are watching, I know this was originally set for an hour-long presentation, but there's just so much information. So sorry we made it an entire hour. Our panelists have agreed to stay for a little bit longer to answer some of the questions that came through in chat. If you have any more, throw them in there. But I do want to ask a couple here. The first one from, we're going to go back to Barry here. Barry says, how are you thinking about growing collaborations internationally with the Chartered Institute of Ergonomics and Human Factors, for example? That seems like a really selfish one, but anyone could talk to this one?
So we were in Delft in the Netherlands at the end of October, beginning of November for the IEA meeting, and had the opportunity to meet face-to-face with representatives from a number of organizations, including CIEHF. And I think there are some really good opportunities there. It's a matter of setting up time to identify what those opportunities would be that would be most beneficial to our members. We, as I mentioned, we've got MOUs with organizations in the U.S. And when we were talking with the folks in the IEA meeting, certainly the folks who are at the Canadian Ergonomics Association and CIEHF, those are both really present, other great opportunities for us. So I'm kind of dancing around it just because we don't have anything specific in mind, but we did talk there about that there, we provide a lot of opportunities. They're almost sort of too many to think about in terms of any specific ones. But yes, I think we'll be working on those, reaching out to both those organizations, CIHF and the Canadian Association, this year.
Great. Hopefully that satisfies your question there, Barry. We got another one here. This one's by David, and he writes, I'm in career transition and hoping to get into the field of human factors or UX research. Recently completed a PhD where I conducted educational research on engineering students. I also have a background in aerospace, mechanical engineering. I was wondering how I can get involved with human factors and what resources you would recommend for someone with their background. So, coming from a transitionary field. Does anyone have advice for David here?
I guess the one thing I would say is there's a lot of people like this young person in HFES. I mean, I think we all almost all of us came from someplace else, right? So my undergrad degree is mechanical engineering. And then I found human factors, and I certainly use my mechanical engineering background. It served me really well as a foundation for human factors, and so I think that his background is great for this. So whether you want to be on more of a physical product physical person interaction or more on the cognitive side of things or both. I think his background is great. We were just in a meeting today talking about the FAA. So somebody with an aerospace interest in aerospace. Certainly, there's a lot of folks who have interest in different elements of aerospace, be it plane design or more on the cognitive side of things in terms of, say, air traffic control issues. I would say look at the technical groups, but also if you are a member of HFES, you can go into the directory and find people who work where you think you would like to work. And I think you can introduce yourself to people that way. Hey, I found you through the directory. You work at NASA. I would really love to find out more about what you do at NASA. And I think people are receptive to that, to those kind of informational interview requests. Yeah, so that's a real benefit of being a member, is that directory.
And to
Anybody else
add
have
to
something
that, David, we have an education and training TG. So given your background, given your PhD work, you might find it interesting to plug into that group and kind of find overlap between what you've done and Human Factors. That might open up opportunities. It's a very active group.
All right. Anybody else have anything they'd like to add to David's comment before we move on here? All right. Well, I think that's going to be it. I know we're over time by a little bit here. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and close out this presidential town hall. We sincerely hope you all enjoyed this town hall discussion. If you like this, come and join us at the annual meeting or the next time that we do one of these town halls. As a reminder, there is a link to a survey here. So if you can, we'll go ahead and throw up the QR code there so you all have access to it. Go fill that out. Let us know how we did today, what you might want to hear from in the future. I want to thank all of our distinguished panelists and everyone else on the HFES side of the house for making this happen. You can always find the latest from HFES at hfes.org. We encourage you all to go join the HFES LinkedIn group, get connected with others, or take a look at some of those HFES bulletins that are coming through your emails. Keep up with some of the society news. As for me, I've been your moderator, Nick Rome. You can find me on Human Factors Cast, our weekly podcast. We talk about the latest news from around the human factors world. Thank you all for joining us. And hey, all of our panelists on the town hall, you know how I like to usually end my show is we say it depends at the end because in human factors, it always depends on a lot of factors. So if I could just have us all do it depends on the count of three, that'd be great. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3.
It
depends. All right. Thanks, everybody, for a wonderful town hall. We'll see you next time.